Vampire Survivors is such an enigma. I can't quite put my finger on how this very straightforward game has managed to get a hold on me and apparently so many others so quickly and effectively. So before I go any further, Vampire Survivors is $3. Go try it out, skip the large soda next time you go get fast food and get this instead. You won't miss the money. Let's take it from the top. Before I explain what Vampire Survivors is, let's talk about a specific genre of games called bullet hells. A bullet hell is exactly what it sounds like. Enemy projectiles cover the screen and it's a hellish experience trying to dodge all of them. These games have a huge emphasis on having a trained eye and understanding of hitboxes, as some of the most extreme examples of these games involve having your character model overlapped with the projectile model, but the actual hitboxes, which tend to be smaller than the models, don't touch. The reason I say this is because Vampire Survivors is effectively a bullet hell, except instead, you're the source of the bullets. Don't get what I mean? This is what I mean. This is the same run that you were watching at the start of the video, but after I maxed out all of my weapons and items. Every single projectile you see on the screen, and even more stuff that you may not see, is all mine. But back to the start. Look at this stylish ass menu. Dope art, buttony buttons. That right there, that right, buttony buttons. That's the good stuff. Hit play and you're placed in the character selection screen. Initially, your options are limited, but as you play and hit different milestones, most of the roster will become available for purchase. All in-game currency and very easily obtainable, so don't worry about that. Each character comes with a unique passive that boosts specific stats and a different starter weapon. Each character definitely has their own unique flavor to how they appear, and even the enemies all look really cool. And trust me, you'll have plenty of time to look at the enemies just based on how many will be on your screen alone, but we'll get into that later. Next up is stage selection. There are 3 stages that you'll unlock in sequence, with hyper mode becoming available after completion just to up the ante a little bit. In game, you start off at level 1 and enemies are far and few. Your starter weapon alone isn't usually the fastest at killing enemies, but they do drop experience crystals. At level 2, and every level beyond, they'll allow you to pick between 3, sometimes 4 if you're lucky, options for upgrading your weapons and stats. You can't really go wrong with any combination of weapons or items, so picking what you like is never a bad idea, but there's also some synergies between weapons and items that you'll discover just based on playing. Killing elite monsters, the larger ones that'll face tank your whole arsenal, will drop a treasure chest. These chests can roll upgrades for any obtained weapon or item, skipping the need to get more levels. Based on which combination of weapons and items you have, you can instead receive an evolved weapon from the chest, granting you a souped up version of said weapon. From my experience, there's no reason not to go for an evolved weapon. There are always upgrades in any scenario, and they're just busted, most of them really. Also on the stages, you'll find environmental destructibles, which can drop coins, healing, a time stop, an orb that will grab all experience crystals currently on the ground, and this thing that turns you into a living flamethrower. So, kill monsters, level up, kill monsters faster until you can't anymore. The coins you get carry over into the power-up menu, where you can buy permanent boosts to your stats, which are definitely going to make future runs much easier and more entertaining. And that's it. That's really Vampire Survivors from top to bottom. There aren't any extremely deep and complex systems that require spreadsheets or number crunching, and there's a few secrets, and I'm obviously not going to reveal them, but as far as I know, there really are just a few secrets. So how the hell is this game pulled in so many? I'm sure you'll find many takes, so I'll just give you mine. The late game power trip. How do you show progression and the exponential growth of the player's strength in a roguelike? Some games allow the player to become so strong that they can kill a later game boss in seconds. Others allow very exclusive interactions to occur or expand the player's pool of equipment as far as the eye can see. This game does so in one main way: visual clutter. In most games, having visual clutter can feel like a cop-out for a way of making artificial difficulty, or it can just be a sign of incompetent development and design. This is towards the end of one of my runs of Vampire Survivors. The only reason you can see where I am is because I have a literal safety circle. If this circle got smaller and smaller, I'd easily be lost in the probably hundreds of enemies knocking on my door. You can also argue that with how many enemies there are, you have to dodge them, so it's like they're making a slow bullet hell for you. If you play Call of Duty Zombies, you know how to train, so that shouldn't be an issue. And then I'm attacking all these enemies with 6 different weapons. There's projectiles on the screen that are solely mine, flying everywhere. I'm the bullet hell, armed to the teeth that no spot on the screen is safe. And finally, we have the visual feedback of enemies being hit and the damage numbers, both of which are actually optional. So even if you can't see this ridiculous amount of projectiles that I'm spewing out, you can tell that the enemies are just going through it, just non-stop damage hitting them. And this all works because Vampire Survivors is so simple. It is only you, your projectiles, and the enemies on screen, really. So the only way to make things more difficult is to throw more and more enemies at you, and the only way for you to prevent yourself from dying is to do more and more damage, have more projectiles. The number of things on the screen is a visual cue of how far you are in a run and how powerful you are. And that's what I personally believe is the big pull of Vampire Survivors. That visual clutter that leads to this power trip of knowing that you're really this powerful, that you can clear this many enemies off the screen and stay alive. Somehow, this a very straightforward $3 game off Steam has managed to pull off one of the better feeling power fantasies that I felt from a roguelike in a long time. You'll experience most that the game has to offer within a day or two, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. With this condensed package, you can boot the game up and you know exactly what you want, you know exactly what you're going to get, and you can get straight to it. And when it's all done, you're going to get that one more run feeling. That's Vampire Survivors. On Steam, $3, less than an hour of work cost for hours of entertainment. It's as simple as that, honestly. Just go get it. Go get it right now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the dislike button if you liked the video. Hit the dislike button if you disliked the video. Leave a comment down below just to talk to me because I'm a lonely individual, and I'll see you guys in the next one.